Hey, what's going on today, guys? So I was just in the car doing some driving, and I was just thinking about more of like a personal thing that I've overcome in the past handful of years. But as I was thinking about it, I thought that a lot of people could probably really get a lot of value out of me sharing this with you. So essentially, what I want to talk about today is how essentially I was able to overcome social anxiety by essentially just working through some simple realities of life. So in high school and early on in college, I used to deal with a lot of anxiety whenever I would go to like big crowds or big parties. Whenever I was meeting people that I didn't know or stuff like that, I would always have some anxiety. I don't know why, but I would always have like this feeling of, overthinking the situation or whatever it is, right? But essentially, I haven't really had this problem in a handful of years. And I can honestly say that if you were to put me on a stage right now in front of like 25,000 people to just, give a lecture about business or whatever, I don't think I would have any anxiety whatsoever doing that. And I can say that 100% truthfully, guys. So essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you basically some mindset strategies that just essentially allowed me to overcome the whole social anxiety problem, and be able to deal with people really, really well after I overcame this. So it's really been over the past, call it like 2 years that I really overcame this, but more so really in the past year. So the first thing that you need to realize about social anxiety is why it even happens to begin with. So the reason why social anxiety even occurs to begin with, got some chapstick on my face, is essentially just from a fear of being judged. So in the same way that, I wiped the chapstick off my face, maybe I was like, for a microsecond, afraid of, somebody judging me for having chapstick on my face or something. That's kind of what social anxiety is, but just on like a bigger scale. So essentially, if you have a lot of social anxiety, it means that you're worried about being judged by other people, and you're worried about being inferior to other people in a social setting. So this is what a lot of social anxiety comes down to, is just basically the fear of being judged, right? So I think that really this is a fear that everybody has. Like, I think that the number one fear in the world is actually public speaking. I think that the number one fear for people is actually getting on stage and speaking in front of a lot of people. There's been studies that have been done that have shown that this is like the number one fear of people, above and beyond like anything else. So I know that this is a big problem for a lot of people, so that's why I want to talk about this, right? So essentially, social anxiety comes from the fear of being judged. So how do you overcome that? Well, the first thing to realize is that the whole idea of being afraid of being judged is just like a little bit selfish in and of itself. I mean, let's say that you walk into a room and there's, 20 people there and you don't know anyone and you're really nervous, you have some social anxiety. Well, the simple reality is the first thing that you need to realize is this: the fact that for the most part, 99% of the time, people are just thinking about themselves. So if you're having social anxiety, if you're wondering about, is this person judging me or whatever, the first thing that you need to realize is that they're probably not even thinking about you at all. So if you're at a party, you walk into some random room, all you are to that person is just some random human being that just walked in the room. Chances are they're just thinking about, what they're going to eat later that night, what's going to make them feel good later, what they don't want to happen to them, stuff like that. So it's very, very rare that they would actually be like thinking about, what you're wearing or who you are, or how you're acting, right? So I think that's why a lot of people have social anxiety, but it's just kind of bogus. And honestly, it's a little bit selfish to even have that mindset, is what I realized. Because, I mean, if you're walking into a room and nobody knows who you are, why would you think that these people are even thinking about you, right? It's like, it's a little bit narcissistic to even think that they're even thinking about you to begin with, right? So that's the first thing to realize just right off the top. And once I realized that, it really probably diminished my social anxiety by about 90%, because I realized that it was true. I mean, when I was going to parties and stuff, I was somehow thinking in my own head, or even not just parties, just any big like events or anywhere with a lot of people I didn't know, I would always just have to, I was overthinking the situation about, what I would say in like certain interaction or whatever, right? But it's all a bunch of BS, really. So you don't need to worry about it. Okay, so the next thing to think about is this. So the next point that helped me really overcome my social anxiety was essentially realizing that people just really aren't as different as you think. So basically, I think that a lot of people have a misunderstanding about human beings and thinking that everyone is just so unique, right? It's like, I think that a lot of people go into social situations trying to like figure out the other person. Like, what does this person think about me or whatever? Like, who is this person? What are they about? And I think that a lot of social anxiety can come from that. But I think that one thing that you can realize that'll help you overcome that as well is just the fact that people aren't as different as you think, right? So it's kind of hard to enter a social situation and like everyone that you're talking to, you're just trying to enter it from just some completely like new framework, trying to figure out that person. But in reality, people are not that different, guys. So I found that once I realized this, I realized that like 99% of my interactions with people were all almost the same, right? And once I understood this, it really helped me be more comfortable with talking to people that I didn't know, or, just meeting strangers in general, right? So in general, people all have the same wants, they all have the same desires, and they all have the same fears. We all want to seek pleasure. We all want to move towards a goal. We all want to be progressing in our own lives, both, professionally, relationships-wise, stuff like that. And we all want to avoid pain, and we all want to avoid anything bad, really. So once you just understand these simple facts that we all want the same thing, we all don't want the same thing. I mean, human beings in general are kind of very similar. Like, people are really not that different, guys. Like, so that's the main thing to realize. And I think that piece too was just so important for helping me, overcome my anxiety, right? So one reason why I would not have any anxiety going on a big stage at this point is just simply realizing that fact, right? Like, if I was on a big stage, I would realize that like every single person there is there because they have the same desire to, figure something out and to succeed at something. And if I'm extremely competent and extremely proficient at whatever they're trying to figure out in my business world, it's mostly advertising stuff. And if I can be very effective at helping them with that, then there's no reason to be anxious or anything, guys. So your competence can really turn into your confidence, okay? And that's a big thing too. So you'll notice a lot of, men in particular, when they don't have, a lot of competence in business, they can act like really, like have a lot of social anxiety or just be shy in social settings. But as you become more competent in whatever your skill set is, that can also increase your confidence a lot more in social situations as well. Anyways, guys, hope this video is helpful. I hope that, if anybody's out there dealing with something like this, just like and comment below. Let me know, what strategies have worked for you as far as curbing anxiety, because I know that this is a problem with a lot of people. Probably, 9 out of 10 people in the world are afraid of public speaking, are afraid of being judged by other people. And I promise that once you can become free of that, you're going to be able to do so many bigger things with just talking to people and helping people out, and just being more comfortable in your own skin a little bit, right? So this is something that I've really worked through in the past couple of years. I'm still a younger guy. I'm still 25. So, there's still a lot that I need to figure out in life other than this. But anyways, hope that this video is helpful, and I'll see you in the next one.